Hey, hope everybody's doing well and is in high spirits. So, we're going to start with this, the April 7th episode. Start off with Tony. He comes out talking about him becoming NXT's first Grand Slam champion. Then everyone involved in the title match appeared from last week. So, my bad. Joe, Ricky, Ethan, they're there, and then everybody, typical fashion when there's like a fatal four way or a triple threat going on, everybody pleads their case. If it was 1-on-1, things would have been different, right? So then Dark State comes out and they strike, and it leads into like a full out like brawl with security, and other wrestlers in the locker room came out to try and quell the situation. It didn't work. Then we go into Sol Ruka versus Izzy Dane. Izzy gets the win thanks to interference by Zarya. She speared Sol outside the ring while the ref was distracted. After the match, Zarya hovered over Sol, saying she decides when it's over between them. So they're gonna get put in a match. Um, they end up getting put in a match later on tonight for a last woman's standing match for a new event that got announced that we're going to cover later in this video. Jasper Troy versus Keanu Carver versus Josh Briggs. Keanu pins Briggs for the win, and they had like nothing really stood out to me other than it was just big guys being big guys and picking each other up, slamming them. Just a bunch of big guy moves going on, right? Tony. Yeah, then we go into Tony D'Angelo, Joe Hendry, Ethan, and Ricky versus Dark State. Ethan gets the pin on Sugar after taking advantage of Tony's hard work. Essentially, Tony attacks. Well, technically, Ethan attacked Tony first because he tagged himself and then he attacked. Well, he didn't really attack him. He hit him, knocked him out the ring, and then went for the pin. So then after Ethan gets the pin and the win and everything, they all, all smiles and everything. Tony attacks Ethan after the match after year. Yeah. So during the match, Dion will become a target of Miles because they interfered in his match they interfered after the end of his match for his NXT North American Championship, him retaining that. So Miles is getting his lip back right here. So Darkseid ends up being down the man. What was it like? It was midway towards the end of the match. Ethan and Ricky once again, despite their personal desires for the NXT, they look like a great team in the making. They do look like a future elite tag team soon, right? So then next we get Lexis King versus Chaz Starboy Hall. Yeah. And a speed match for the speed tournament because they need a new speed champ. LaFleur had to relinquish the title due to injury. Lexis King wins by pinfall. And then there's another match that's also going to be taking place. That's part of the tournament. It's going to be Eli Knight versus Van Dux. And then the finals will be taking place on NXT Revenge Part 2. Because it's going to be like a 2-episode event. So then we go into the main event with a mixed tag match with Shiloh Hill and Tatum Paxley versus Blake Monroe and Jackson Drake of Vanity Project. So I guess they got rid of the swipe left, swipe right thing, and they're just Vanity Project all around. But anyways, Blake pins Tatum for the win. The chemistry, I'll say this, the chemistry with the four of them in the ring together, crazy. Crazy. And it was a fabulous way to end the night. But as I was saying, at the end of the night, they announced NXT Revenge is going to take place over 2 weeks. 2 episodes pretty much. And there's going to be a whole bunch of matches that's going to take place in between the two shows. Title matches and storyline matches for the most part. So we're going to get into that right now. So the first match on the card is Jada Parker versus Kalani Jordan. Kalani wins by pinfall. Good match. I don't. I think I missed the part where the second turnbuckle got removed. The middle turnbuckle, I should say this. The middle turnbuckle, because Jada ended up running into the turnbuckle and got hurt, and then that's how Kalani eventually it led to her getting the pin. Then we go into this actually, hold on. If I'm not mistaken, the night started off with this backstage segment first, but we're going out of order. Shiloh Hill, he's building something for Tatum. In the locker room, Ricky asks him what he's doing because he has like a hammer, he has a list. The man's on a mission. And then Ethan, he shows up and to talk to Ricky about last week because they were a little out of sync last week during the 8-man tag match, right? Then Ethan pretty much says, "Look, when I become champ, you get the first opportunity to challenge for the title." They hug it out, and all is right in their world, with one thing left to do. So they play a vignette with Soul recapping her double title reign and says Zarya can't get the job done pretty much because of all the opportunities that her Soul has afforded Zarya. Yeah. Ahead of because they're having a last woman standing match next week on part 2 of NXT Revenge. Hopefully my girl comes out, gets the dub, Zarya. And this this nice little feud can end. Then the next part we go into, next part I got notes on Joe Hendry concert. This was actually pretty good. It was a nice chill vibe. It gets interrupted by Keanu, and he lays Joe Hendry out with security. We also one of the security guards. What's his name? What's his name? Chris. I think his name was Chris. Oh, I want to say Chris Lighty, but I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure his first name was like Chris. But he was on LFG. He was actually part of security. He was part of security in another episode too recently. I think he was in that April 7th episode with the full out brawl. Alright, so moving forward, Allie Armstrong debut. No red lights, no stop signs, all gas, no brakes. Gotta get mine. Listen, she got the win by pinfall. It was a good match. I've been waiting for her to pop up on NXT from when I saw her on Evolve before they even had Evolve Women's title. Her and Kendall looked like they were gonna be the next ones to come up. I had faith in a couple other stars that was there, women talent that was there on Evolve. Some of them end up getting released and everything. I'm hoping some of them come back. I really am, especially what's her name? Hayes Jameson. She was on LFG as well. She was on season 2. She goes by, because I looked her up recently too, just because I was curious as to what happened to her. She's gone by Pinky Montoya now, but she also got released, and I'm thinking about making another video about that. I might make a video about that at a different time. Anyways, so then she went strong debut. She seemed pretty over with the crowd. She was wrestling Skylar Ray. If I'm not mistaken, it's the same girl that won season 2 for LFG. Then we go into Eli Knight versus Van Dyke Speed match for the tournament. Eli Knight wins, so I think it's going to be Eli Knight versus Lexus King in the finals for the Speed title. Next week on NXT Revenge Part 2. Then we go into the title match, Ethan Page versus Tony D'Angelo. During the match, Ricky Saints, he shows up ringside but gets awkwardly dragged under the ring. Turns out Shiloh was under the ring and had Ricky's legs tied up and removed Ricky from the match. Like he literally dragged him out after he tied up his legs because he was there in the locker room when they were talking because Ethan wanted Ricky at. I thought he was gonna come out with Ricky during the entrance, but I guess he chose he chose to come out at a different time or whatever. I don't know. Maybe he was in the bathroom. Who knows? Moving forward, Miles Bourne, he comes out to the ring to speak on his victory at Stand and Deliver and about how he was gonna go home and eat his favorite dessert that as an innuendo to him speaking about Stephanie Vicare, but was attacked by Dark State, so he pulled a play from their book and got his lick back, which he did last week. Dark State, they end up showing up, and Dion is pretty much saying that we, pretty much how they used to be a threat and everything like that, and they're gonna have, pretty much they're gonna return to form. Essentially, they going back to their old ways. But Miles, he tells Dion, he knows he wants a title shot, but if they attack him right now, he may not get that match, right? And then he also goes on to say, as the leader of Dark State, he has a decision to make. The Sugars, I think his name is Saquon Sugars. But Sugars, he interrupts saying Dark State has no leader and they'll strike whenever. Dion says not to because it's the best opportunity for Dark State at gold. Because if they attack them and they don't get no gold, then what was the point of all this, right? Backstage, Rob Stone asked Keanu what was he thinking attacking Joe during his concert. I don't know why the thing auto-corrected the contract. Now he might have to book him in a match, and Keanu is saying Joe's time at the top is done. No more sing-alongs or waving hands or anything like that. And then we go into the main event, JC Jane versus Lola Vice for the NXT Women's Championship match. This is JC Jane invoking her rematch. They tried to recreate the spot when JC beat Stephanie for the time. Also, real quick, Stephanie was also there too. She gave Lola a little pep talk. You know, a little go getter, right? But they try to recreate that spot with Stephanie Vicare with Lola Vice when JC won the title off of Stephanie. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, it's Fallon's fault. I just don't think she had got enough momentum because she when she did it against Stephanie, she swung around on the post. She swung around the post and hit Stephanie. But it was like this time, I don't know if she probably aimed too low. Maybe she aimed too. I just don't think she got enough momentum because it looked like she just ended up stopping short, way too short, right? But they keep it going, right? I'm just happy that it didn't turn into like the what happened was Selena and Chelsea when Selena went for a 619 and she kind of like messed it up a little bit, whether she didn't get enough momentum or whatever. So she ended up like double, kind of like, I don't want to say double tap because she didn't really tap her the first time, but she just, yeah, she ended up breaking her nose and yeah, turned to a bloody mess. And I'm sorry about that. This is, what the fuck? I'm trying to do all this in one take, and it is 6:46 in the morning. And that's what's going on. All right. Hopefully y'all ain't hear that, and it was just other sounds. But yeah. So this match also ended up getting announced for next. I think this one's on next week too. So 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 it's Tatum Paxley versus Blake Monroe in a casket match that was announced, and that's what Shiloh apparently was working on the whole episode, was building a casket for Tatum's casket match. And that concludes the yeah that concludes the night. I'll catch you guys next episode, and I'll try and drop the NXT Revenge Part 2 as early as possible. Until